Hey Equestrians, my name is Antea. I'm the community manager of Cavalry Games, and I am here with Sophie today.
Hello.
Hi Sophie. So,
Hi.
you work here at Cavalry Games.
I do.
Can you tell me a little bit who you are? Well, can you tell the community who you are and what you do and how long you have been working here? All
Yes.
that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So, my name is Sophie. I have been working at Cavalry Games for a year now. I think in 3 days it's going to be exactly a year since I started.
Ooh.
This is my first job in the industry. I had an internship before where I worked on a horror game, so it's kind of different from this type of game.
Horror horses.
Yeah,
Next ETG game.
it's the next
It's the
game that's
next
coming.
one.
Yeah. No, but I love games, always loved games. I really liked Zelda when I was younger. I played a lot of horse games when I was younger. I was a member, I don't know if anybody will know this, but there was a horse club in Sweden that was called Pollux. And I was a proud member of Pollux for years. And I got my first horse game from them. And you get books and all horse kind of stuff,
Sounds so
horse
cute.
kind of. It was amazing, and you got it I think once a week or once a month or something.
Oh, I'm so
and it was,
jealous.
Yeah. And then I grew up with horses. My mom has always been riding, so she competes still. She's soon 60, but she's she's not slowing down. She loves it. She does cross country.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I'm so nervous every time. I can't watch her videos. She does
can imagine.
the camera recording, and then she writes she's like, look at it, and I'm like, I can't
No.
look at it.
I'm so
it's,
happy my mom does dressage. I'm
Yeah.
like, you do that. I'm happy
That's
with
fine.
that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
and she's like, yeah, there's always 4 ambulances on the side, every time, and it's just oh, that makes me feel so
Yeah.
secure.
Please don't tell me.
Yeah. No, but so I did do a lot of riding when I was younger. So I know a lot about horses, and I really like horses. So it's a perfect match. Games.
Yeah. And then you saw Cavalry Games, and you saw Equestrian the game. You're like, that's it. That's my job.
Yes. I was still studying. I was doing my last semester, and I was like, oh my God, I need to find a job. And then I saw this, and I was like, this could not be more perfect. And I wrote the cheesiest email to them. But it worked because I'm here, so that was really nice.
And I'm very happy you are. I mean, I guess cheesy emails work with Molly and Axel.
Yeah.
I did the same though. I was like, do you still remember me?
Yeah.
We talked about horses once. But yeah, you do many things within a company. You do QA. I think you also help a little bit with the releases. Am I right?
Yeah. So I do QA. I do level design, and I've also started helping out with being. We have a release manager, but I'm kind of helping him out because he got a lot of stuff to do. So we do a little bit of everything, and then I help the artists sometimes with their stuff, mostly technical stuff. I can't draw. I'm a terrible drawer. I'm a terrible artist, but I help everywhere I can, basically. And since I haven't been in the industry for that long, I'm still very hungry for knowledge, and I want to, expand my skill sets and stuff. So yeah, I do a lot of stuff.
And you also run around in a dinosaur suit occasionally. And just for the community to know, Sophie keeps me alive by feeding me chocolate balls, Swedish chocolate balls, all the time. Sugar-free. And for the people that don't know what that is, please go check it out if you're in Sweden, because they're delicious. But yeah, in this video, obviously you're doing a lot of things, but in this video we're gonna focus on the level design part, because you create the beautiful levels that they ride around in. So just in short, we're gonna go more in detail after it, but just in short, what does a level designer do, or what do you do as a level designer?
Yeah. I know that we talked about this before, and I was like, what should I say on this? Because I think there's so many different type of level design jobs out there that demands different things depending on the game. So I will mostly talk from my perspective. But what I do basically is that I create the levels that you ride around in, for example, the trail rides. So I've done Highlands, Savannah, and I'm working on a third, new. I so want to say what it is because it's by far my favorite. I love Highlands. Highlands will forever be in my heart because it's the first big level that I've done in the industry, but this one that's coming, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically I build them. I don't make them pretty, I just make them fun. That's my job. And I kind of decide what goes in. So for example, in Highlands, I really wanted a castle. And the artist was like, no. And I was like, yes, we need a castle. We need to have a castle during Halloween where you can ride around and like it's gonna be spooky. And they're like, no. And I was like,
Yes.
but we do. And then
we
they
did
it.
though. Yeah. Yeah.
So
it
it's
was
also
amazing.
like persuading people to do what I want them to do, basically. And then I also will, hopefully, I don't know if I can say this.
We'll
maybe
cut
I
it
can.
out if you can.
Okay, good.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, because nothing is not decided or anything, but I will also start, because I have done some programming in the past and I help program on some games. So I will hopefully help with some programming in the levels, because that's also a thing that most level designers can do. They can do the programming within the level to make it more live or find way paths for stuff, or yeah.
That's pretty impressive. You can do. Aren't you just doing everything at this?
I feel like I'm good at everything, but I'm not super good at anything. So it's like, but I can do a lot.
You're pretty good at level design, I have to say. So you can compliment yourself.
Thank you.
But yeah, more about like let's go into detail about the level design. I think it is interesting to hear about what kind of steps you need to take for levels design. I know that you start with getting inspiration with the research part. Can you like tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So first we have a list of different themes. So for example, Highlands is a theme, Savannah is a theme, Nordics is a theme. So what usually happens, it's I get a theme from Molly, and then I do research on that theme. So I usually go on Google Maps. Google Maps is a great way when you're creating environment level design. So I go into Google Maps and I check on the environment and see how does the environment look like? How does the rock look like? What's the color palette? What are their, for example, in Highlands, they're famous for all these open landscapes, and they have the cheaps, and they have old castles, and they have these ruins, and these high points where you can look out on the sea, and it's just they have a lot of gorgeous
very
stuff.
characteristics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the same, for example, Savannah. I mean, I don't want to go into details with like the technical part since we're still just the research, but for example, Savannah is kind of open, and our level wasn't super open because we tried to go with a kind of still in Savannah, but like a kind of different theme. So I was looking a lot at, the desert and stuff, but also with like more rocky areas in Google Maps. So that's why you have a little bit more of narrow halls, if you want to call it that. And you have the oasis, and you have like the outlook with the giraffes. It's
I love the giraffes.
yeah,
it makes it a little bit more diverse instead of just because open space. It is pretty, but it could become a little bit boring if you're riding around. So I can totally imagine that you wanted something different there.
Yeah, definitely. And it's no. So I just usually do like a Pinterest board, collect all my ideas, find cool areas, and kind of write down some keynotes as well. Just have like okay, again, but like Savannah open. It's not very open, but Highlands, for example, it's like okay, they have so many rocks and viewpoints, and it's like I will write those down, those words, and I know that I kind of need to have that in the level to make it match what Highlands actually is and do Highlands justice, I guess.
Well, I know. I remember that when we published Highlands. First of all, Highlands is my favorite. I loved it so much, and I know that there were a few people actually from Scotland that were so happy to see that we did Highlands and that it looked so great. And they sent us a few messages with their appreciation.
Yeah, I stalk Instagram, so I see all their messages. As soon as we release the season or I done a trail, I'm like, I want to see what people think. I want to see what people think.
Of course. But yeah, so you've done your research. You've looked at Google Earth and Google Maps, and you've created your Pinterest board. What's next? I think it's probably sketching. if I
Yes.
remember. So you're gonna draw. You're gonna use your many drawing talents.
Oh my god, this is an area I really need to get better at. I just wish that I had I think you have an image. I sent you an image of my first drawing I ever did of Highlands.
I will show it here. I will show
It's so bad, and I'm like, I can't even tell what I was drawing at the time, but like or like I can't tell what I draw. But at the time I could, obviously. But it's just like I look at it and I was like, what? Like what? No, but I usually go to before I kind of go through my Pinterest board also with like Molly or some of the artists like Eleanor, for example, who's going to do the level dressing further down the road, and just talk about it and talk about the different areas to make sure that she's okay with also what I'm doing. And then I go into drawing. So usually I just draw on paper for the secret season that's gonna come. This was the first time I draw it on I actually tried to make it pretty because I want to be better, and it was kind of pretty. So I draw that, and I was like Googling on how to draw fantasy maps basically, and I found this artist that does really amazing fantasy maps, and I was like, this is how I want to kind of draw. I mean, you don't really need to be a good drawer, but it just helps.
It makes it more fun as well.
Yeah, and it's also when you want to show it to the team later and show the different sketches, it helps if they understand what I have been drawing. So I tried to make it more pretty, and I think I managed to do that, and it was more clear. And then I also just took a photo and then just shoved it into Photoshop, and then I drew over it in Photoshop to make it even more clear. And then for the first 2 seasons, I only did 1 or 2 sketches that I was like, okay, I want one of these, and then I just chose which one I wanted. But now I started to kind of wanting to have different options and let the team go through it, so we can discuss pros and cons with both maps. Do we want to, take a little bit of this or a little bit of that, and have them more involved in the process, I guess. Because that's also a thing. When I started, we didn't have a level designer. Our artist did our levels, and she did a great job. She's amazing. But so there wasn't any real process of level design. I kind of had to create it myself. So the whole process of how I create them is just me figuring out as I go. And I feel like with this level that I'm working on now, I finally come to a place where it's actually, this is a good process, I think. For me.
You learn with every time. You learn a little bit more on what works and what doesn't work. So
and it goes quicker. Yeah, I think Highlands, it took me 2 months to just start with the white boxing and putting all the stuff in.
Exactly.
Now I did
2
it
months,
in
people, 2 months.
Yeah, now I did it in I think 2.5 weeks or something. I did the whole process in 2.5 weeks. So yeah, I mean, I'm learning. I'm getting there.
You're making it better and better along the way. I mean, it's kind of fun that you started level designing, and there's so much possibility within the team that you can create that process yourself, because you can also create a process that suits you as well. So that sounds pretty cool. I didn't know that. Well done, Sofie.
Well, thank you. I'm just here for the confidence boost. You're boosting me so much. You're amazing too, Antia. You're doing such a great job.
Oh my god.
What would we do without you?
What would I do without you? All the chocolate balls?
We're a great team. We're a great team.
So you did the sketching, and you already said you're gonna discuss it with the team, see which one is gonna be the one and what you want. And then, okay, so you decided on a sketch. You decided, okay, this is what we're gonna do. What happens then?
Well, at that point I kind of start white boxing, but I think I forgot to mention that I don't know where it really fits in. Maybe it does in the research or the sketching process, but it's also, we have a lot of technical limitations when it comes to our level design, because we are a mobile game. It's not a PC game, it's not a console game. And there's a lot of people still playing on older phones, and we want the game to work for as many people as possible. So for example, we can't have too big open areas, because that will take a lot of frame rate, and it will make a lot of phones crash. or get really, really hot. I know that there are still people that have those issues, and I'm always trying to like, we need to scale this down. We need to make this, you know, area smaller because I think it's going to be too big. I don't think a lot of phones can handle it and stuff. So we have a lot of those issues that needs to be thought of, and especially if we're working with like more altitude. So we're working with, you know, we can be on the ground, you can be higher up, but if you're higher up, you can't have, you want the view because that's the nice part of having a nice view, but you can't have a nice view because it will crash your phone. So for example, with the Savannah Outlook, we kind of use the skybox, as it's called. The skybox is kind of everything surrounding the layout where you can run, basically. So everything around it, and it will make it look like the area is so much bigger, but it's basically just a skybox that's kind of tricking you.
So a skybox is more like a picture that if you have like a horizon and there's some ocean behind it, that's like the skybox kind of idea.
But it goes like all around the area, basically.
Exactly.
So we use a lot of that one. I also need to like keep that in mind that if I want views, I often have to use that kind of thing to solve those things.
Exactly.
I guess.
I mean, it's important to think of that in the beginning of the process, because it would be way harder if you're already further in the process and then you notice that it's too big and everything crashes and then you can't really do anything about it anymore. So it's important to think beforehand.
Definitely. It's always a lot to keep in mind. And it's also when I want stuff, for example, I said that I wanted the castle in Highlands. I need to think about, okay, but does the artist have the time to do a castle? Because a castle is a pretty big undertake. And then I have to have a, you know, talk with them. Do I want something else in there? So I try to also reuse a lot of stuff. So I usually go through our project in Unity, which is our game engine that we're working in. I just look through a lot of our assets, and then I will try to use as many of them as I can. And I also always want a few new items in each season. But it's for Highlands, I didn't really know what I could expect and not. So I kind of just went full on. And I was like, I want the Loch Ness, I want a castle, I want a ruin, I want a waterfall, I want this.
About Loch Ness, like whose idea was it to put the monster of Loch Ness in there?
I think I did the little, because in Highlands you have like the little mini lake in the middle of the map, and I know that I said something else, like I was joking about it, like we should put Loch Ness in it, and then Ruben, he just got so excited, he was like,
we're gonna do this.
So he took one of Eleanor, our artist, she did like a decoration for the courses, for the show jumping courses. Unfortunately, we couldn't put it in because we had some technical difficulties. But he did take that decor piece and put it in the ocean instead, because we couldn't be too near. We needed to be like pretty far away, otherwise you would see how it really looked like close up. I don't know if we can say this, but I guess we can say it. I think he set the spawn rate on it like 1 in 100,000. So
something like that. Yeah, there were a few people who found it, but
yeah, I really wanted us to like lower that because I wanted more people to see, because I just thought it was funny. But I mean, it also created this kind of buzz where people were like, no, it doesn't exist. Like it's in real life, you know. People are like, but it does exist. No, it doesn't.
That was amazing
Yeah, so
idea.
Shout out to Ruben. He just
and to you.
Just took, yeah, but I mean he just went for it. I didn't like really. I made a joke, and he was just like, I'm gonna do that.
It was
amazing.
That was really
fun. Yeah.
But yeah, so after, so you have the research part, you have the sketching part, you have the presenting it to the team, and then you said something about whiteboxing.
Oh yeah.
Can you explain what whiteboxing is? Because I have no idea.
No. Well, whiteboxing is basically when you start building in the scene. Basically, you start building in the engine. You're starting to building the map. You don't really use terrain. You just work with basically white boxes or gray boxes, whatever color you prefer. But it's called whiteboxing, so I use gray boxes for some reason.
Can you use pink boxes?
You can use pink boxes.
Oh my god!
I would use whatever you want.
I would choose a color.
Yeah. I mean, since my job is basically, I'm focusing on the feel of the game and how it feels to ride the trail ride. So I usually white box. So I take my sketch and I put all the white boxes or gray boxes or pink boxes everywhere that I draw on my little sketch that I'm supposed to put it on. And then I just put it out there, and then I test it by riding around. Does it feel good? Is it big enough? How long can I like ride around the whole trail and all the small paths? Like how long would that take? Does it give a nice feel? For example, in Highlands, because it was my first level, I didn't really think about working upwards. I just did like, honestly, not a flat area because Highlands has a lot of valleys and stuff, but I was riding around and I was like, something feels really off. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I can ride in it and it's great, but it just feels off. And then I was like, oh my God, I haven't even worked with like adding paths
Heights.
higher up, like, what am I
The
doing?
Highlands.
Yeah,
Highlands.
yeah, exactly.
So
So
it's an important step. So like
yeah, it definitely
feel
is.
how, like to know how it feels to ride
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, it's also it's very interesting because you can really create like a different type of feelings just by how you put things.
Yeah.
So for example, if we want you to get like this, oh my God, this area is so amazing, you have like the best view, or like it's just so gorgeous, it's one simple thing that you can do is like right before that area you will have a little bit of like a narrow path, so you feel like you're getting a little bit more cramped, and then like it will open up in this gorgeous like view, and it's like it's such an easy way to just make the view more spectacular, because if
Exactly.
you
So
just ride around in an open area and then you get to the view, it's like, oh, I was
there's a
just in an
feel.
open area, like it's the same.
Now you really get the difference, like of feeling, like the
Yeah.
narrow feeling, and then there's the complete opposite.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's also important to, because we have our seasons now for 2 months at a time, so you have 2 months to ride around in the trail. So I kind of want the maps to, I don't want them to be difficult, I don't want them to be lost all the time, but I want them to feel like the more time they spend in it, the more time they learn. So it's not going to be too easy. I don't want you to play the trail for 20 minutes and then you have the whole map figured out. Like,
And
in some, yeah.
is this why we don't have like a map icon that you can see where you are?
I know people really want this, and I think that if we would ever do it like in a PC game where we have this huge map or like a bigger map, then obviously that would be a different thing. But since we have the same map for 2 months, I think it's not going to be fun to go back if you learn the map straight away. You want to feel like you earned like your knowledge about the map and you know your way around. So in Savannah, for example, I added this small, it's like a ravine with like a little water path and like a long bridge that you can ride on.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah, like that one I kind of wanted to hide it a little bit more than we actually did. I wanted it to be like covered with like a lot of greenness and a lot of flowers and stuff, and just be like, if you really went in, you would be like, oh, I can walk here. And I wanted that to be like kind of a surprise path for only the players who like really, really work hard on exploring the map. But it's still pretty hidden, and I wanted them to feel like, oh my God, I'm riding in this mysterious hidden valley.
Why didn't we hide it as much as you wanted it?
I think the issue was that we didn't have enough plants that would fit, because I wanted plants that was kind of dripping down, like the climbing plants. I don't know what they call.
I think climbing plants is legit.
Yeah, I mean,
I understand you.
Yeah, perfect.
If anyone knows the other word for climbing plants,
let us know.
let us know.
So I wanted kind of that, and I wanted like a little archway, and we ran out of time also because we have limited amount of time on everything. And I know Savannah was a really stressful trail for us to do. We had to take away because I did that map huge. That was like a really, really big map. And we had to take away 2 large areas of that map. So we will see if we bring it for next season, if we have the time, if it will work. It's probably going to be too big, but so we had to scale it down, and we had to, you have to kind of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's a common saying in game design or gaming industry, like kill your darlings. Like you just have to let it go and be like, yeah, I don't have the time.
I think it's in every creative job and every creative thing is kill your darlings is is the most horrible thing
Yeah,
ever.
it
But
really is.
you need to do it. You need to
I
do it.
was so sad when we were at the meeting and we were talking about, you know, planning, and we're like, we don't have the time to do this. And I was just like, but
No.
we could like just, and then like our producer was like, no, Sophie, let it go. And I was like,
No.
okay, I'm gonna let it go. Yeah, but it's that's part of the process too.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a lot of the different areas that I put in a white box. I really test first to see that it works. It feels nice. I feel like it has a nice flow. It is a bit hard to run around, but like as soon as you played it a few times, you will know exactly. So I try to always have like a center point or something where you can come back to and be like, okay, this is my, like, I will start here, and then I know exactly I have this to the left, I have this to the right, I know that I have the oceans to the front, for example, and stuff like that.
Very important part of the process. But then it's if you think, okay, this feels alright, this is cool, this is nice. It needs to, I guess, be made pretty. And I think that's when you kind of throw it to one of our artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next step is, well, before that, we actually have Molly play tested. So she usually play test the level. She writes around in it. She writes me some notes, and I can change it if I want to, or I can keep it. She's very like, I trust you, but these are my notes. So sometimes I change a few stuff, sometimes I don't, because usually I know more about the limitations we have with technical issues and stuff. So yeah, and then I send it to Elinor, who is our artist, amazing artist.
Amazing
She's the
artist.
one that makes everything so pretty, and I'm so amazed because when I hand over the level to her, it's so ugly. Like it's just. Oh, I forgot. I also do the terrain. That's an important part as well, because terrain is what takes a really long time to do.
What
So
is terrain exactly? I know what terrain is, but in this
yeah.
case.
So basically, the terrain is just it's the terrain. Like I make all the hills, I make all the like the paths and the water areas and stuff. So I work with whiteboxing and the terrain. So the terrain is usually what takes the longest, because it demands a lot of, you know, nitpicky here and there and touch ups, and you want it to be smooth, but it's hard to get it like
Exactly.
everything like really nice and flowy.
It's the most time-consuming thing. Then up
Yes.
until the like of the whole process up until now, that's the most time-consuming thing.
Yeah, I would say so. It takes a lot of time, and also the terrain. This is also why whiteboxing is so important, because the whiteboxing allows me to play around in the level and get a feel that it feels good. Because if I just went into working on the terrain straight away and I didn't like it and I didn't like the feel, it would just take me so much longer to redo that, because the terrain is just, it's really, really hard to redo small things, because if you want to move like a little area, you're gonna have to move the entire, you have to remake, you can't move the terrain, you have to remake the terrain basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so when I hand it over to Elinor, it's really ugly and she just makes it super pretty. She's amazing.
I'm always amazed by how it looks. Like if she does, if she's like near finished and we're riding around and we're doing the recordings for the trailer as well. It's so pretty.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
so amazed.
I on Savannah we had such a little time that we needed to help, so I helped with some of the level dressing. So I did like the small path that I talked about with Long Bridge. I did that area, and I was so nervous because she's so good at it. So I had to go to her several times and be like, does this look okay? And she was like, yeah, sure, just like
Great teacher.
think about this and do like this and this and this. And I was like, okay. And then I go back and I do all the things that she told me to do, and then and then I show it again, and she was like, it's okay, it's nice now. So she's amazing.
I mean, it's amazing that that's what I love about this team as well, is that everyone helps each other and you can learn so much from each other, and everyone is willing to teach each other. I mean, it's cool that you're working together with such a great artist, and that she can basically everything that you had in mind, she can like it gets alive when it goes alive when she touches it. So do you discuss a lot with her what your views are, or are you just like, here is it and do your magic and I'll see what comes next?
Not really just that abrupt. Like we do have a handover basically where we kind of have a meeting. We go through the entire level. Sometimes I do like I will write text and I will leave it in the trail ride where I'm like, this is this area, and so on. But I also have I usually also, and now I forgot to say this also, there's so many things in this process. But like
There's too much you need to do.
when I do my sketching process, I also do an asset list basically of like the assets that I want in the level. I will write an asset list of the stuff we already have that we can reuse. I will write an asset list of stuff that is high priority, and then I would do like a secondary priority list of assets that it would be nice if we can have it, but it's not like game breaking if we don't have it.
Exactly.
So usually I go when we do this handover, she's already worked on those things during my white boxing and stuff. So then we go through all the areas, we discuss it. I usually write a little document where I have like, this is the area I want this fill here and I want this fill here. And then, I mean, she's super open to and super free to change stuff. So if she feels like, okay, these two paths would actually be better if it was just open because it will make the area prettier, she will do that. So she can also change some things in the trail after I've done my part. But yeah, so we just go through it, discuss it. I discuss my viewpoint. We go back and forth, and then she takes it over and does her magic.
Creates the magic.
Yes.
So when she has finished her level, what comes next? Is there anything you still need to do? Like, are you gonna test ride? You, of course, you're also QA, so you're gonna do some testing as well. But is there anything specifically in the level design process that you need to do after, or is it done after she has finished her magic?
Yeah, no, I usually also do the trail trials and the spooky objects. So I will choose where I put the spooky objects. And that also ties into how I want the player to feel and have an experience. For example, we usually do all our bridges to be scary for the horse. But again, this path in Savannah, this long bridge, I kind of didn't want that because I wanted the player to actually be able to run on it.
Like, been horrible, like constantly spooky on the long bridge.
The horse would never wanted to go there. They're like, nope, I'm not going to that scary, awful place.
Yeah, too long.
I wanted it to be, like a nice area, not like a scary, horrible area where the horses are just freaked out. So that's also something that you have to consider. You want to stick to what the player knows. Obviously, you don't want to throw them off and be like, oh, this always works in this way, but now it doesn't, because that can also be frustrating. But I felt like we have never had a bridge that long, so
might make some changes.
Yeah. No, so I usually do that, and for the trail trials, my viewpoint is basically I want a few that will guide the player through the trail ride, basically. So if you take them, you will see a lot of different areas of the trail ride, and then I want at least one, maybe two, where it's a bit more challenging. It needs a lot of turns, a lot of canter switching. So yeah.
Then you play test it as well, because Sofie does everything.
Yes,
in this company.
I do so many random things. But it's fun. You never get bored. Definitely not. It's always
never get bored. Never here,
No.
which is lovely. So yeah, that's the entire process then, like with play testing as well and everything, and then we put it out in the world, and everyone is hopefully happy.
Yeah, I have to say I love the feedback that I've gotten on Highlands and Savannah. People have been so nice, and I really do appreciate and love when people give feedback where it's like, oh, I would like this area to be more like this or this, because it also tells me what you guys want and what you expect. And it's also, if you say that you love this area, for example, people love the oasis area with the waterfall and like the two small bridges in Savannah, or the castle, for example, then I kind of know what the players want, because that's also something that I really take in consideration. I was like, I think that the player will love a castle. Like, I really do think that they absolutely love a castle during Halloween. So that's also, such a big part of it. So I do stalk Instagram. So give feedback.
give feedback. We also have a wonderful. I'm gonna use this opportunity to talk
Oh, yeah.
about our feedback and ideas form that we have. So if you have any feedback on the game, or if it's about the level, or if it's about the gameplay, anything, if you have feedback or an idea, we have a feedback and ideas form. So it's in the link in the description of this video. And every kind word is being thrown at the team. So if you have kind words, they're always welcome for our lovely Sophie and her lovely work.
Yay. And yours. You're lovely.
I try.
You're doing amazing.
Oh, you're doing amazing.
Oh,
Are we
girl.
gonna do this again?
Just
You're
love
amazing.
bombing. Oh, amazing.
Okay, so you finished the process, everything is done. You already said something like you started with the process being like 2 months, and now you've shortened it to 2 weeks. In your case, I mean, the whole level designing part, like the artist part, also takes a long time. But in your case, about 2 weeks would be enough for a level such as this, or do you think it's maybe longer?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that now that I've done 3 different levels and I'm about to start on the 4th one that I'm gonna make, I think that a month is usually better because I think that gives me a bit more time.
Yeah.
This one that I just made in a really, really short time because we were a bit stressed and we had a lot of things.
We're never stressed.
No, we have a lot of things that we're working on, so it's like we had to prioritize. So I was like, I really had to make it kind of fast.
Yeah.
But luckily, I felt like this theme really, it came so fast when I was drawing it because I really love this theme and I think it's just such a gorgeous.
It's gonna be
Right.
so good. Oh, I so wanna tell.
excited. Oh, I was like, I just want to release it now. Like,
Yeah.
I just want it to be out there and I want to see everybody's response. But it's still in testing and it needs some editing, and yeah, we're still in the phase. But I would say when it comes to the trail ride in general, the thing that takes the absolute longest is just the level dressing that Elinor does.
Yeah.
Basically, make it pretty. Because her process is basically, okay, I will start by putting all the big rocks, and that's like a process of 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, everything she says during our stand-up meetings is like, yesterday I placed rocks, today I will place rocks. And then like that's what she does, and then like when she's done with that, she's like, and now I'm gonna place small rocks.
Small rocks.
And then like she does that for a week or 2, and then it's the plants, and then so
Yeah, it's not just like plopping and it's there. It's like every rock is like being specifically put somewhere. It's a whole process. But yeah, so it takes a long time to create such a pretty level. And like you said, I think one of my questions was, are there more level designers in Cavalry games? And you already said that you're the only one. We didn't have one before. So you're doing this on your own, next to all the other things that you do. What is your favorite part of level designing? What do you like most about it?
Can I say 2 parts?
No. You can. Okay, you can. What are your favorite 2 parts?
Thank you. Okay, so honestly, I know this sounds so cheesy, but I am obsessed with level design. I will watch so many level design videos of other level designers. I love Peter Field. He did a level in Last of Us, and he's an amazing like level designer. I watched all his videos. And so I really like all the things in the process, but obviously I think that the white boxing can be so much fun because it's so I just put on a YouTube video of level design creations and I just watch somebody level design or like listen to them level design while I do my level design and like I do my white boxing.
Double inspiration.
Yeah, because it's also, since I am pretty new, I want to, and I am by myself, I don't have a lead level designer that can teach me. I'm kind of like, okay, I will teach myself. Like I will have it on the side and I will pick up snippets here and there of like how to think and so on. So I would say that white boxing is one of them because I can really sit for hours and hours and hours. I don't like the clock just goes away because I'm just so invested like when I'm white boxing. And then I also really enjoy the research process where I just research because like the most fun thing is to go on Google Maps and watch how the landscapes looks and how the whole area of like several countries looks based on like how the wind moves, for example, or like
Yeah.
where the water flows, like how it has created all these water pockets that is like now in people's eyes just lakes, but it's like if you go on Google Maps you will see like certain patterns that goes around, which is
Yeah.
super interesting. Like just Google Earth. It's so cool
Google
to
Earth.
watch. Yeah, go
I mean,
Google Earth.
Earth is beautiful, but I
Yeah.
have a feeling that after a while you'll be an expert on on
Yeah.
Earth. You know everything. You can make a documentary.
Yes, I will be the next English British guy sitting and talking about ants in the wild
Talk about ants.
in a very posh British accent. No, but it's when I met Hannah, the level designer at Coffee Stain, we said because she does mostly more art related level design. She's kind of like an Eleanor, and it's so interesting to talk to her because she was the one that taught me about like Google Earth, just like Google Earth, see the patterns, see why this is happening, and then she showed me areas of what they put in their game Satisfactory. Of like I made this area with all because the wind had moved in a certain way that they created this really cool like water pockets with it was very specific where the plants were because that's the only way that they were away from the wind but could also get water, so they were like it was so cool to see how she just like honestly took that like how it actually is into their world basically.
And you're trying to do that as well at the moment.
Yeah, Hannah. I'm so Hannah shout out.
Hannah is a dear friend of mine, and I love Hannah, so definitely Hannah shout out.
Yeah, so no, but I honestly I know it sounds so cheesy, but I love the entire process. Like when they tell me like here's a new theme, go create a level, it's my favorite part of my job for sure. That whole process.
And it shows because it always everything you've touched up until now is beautiful, and I know that the next one is gonna be gorgeous as well.
I think it's gonna be everybody's favorite.
I hope so.
I dare to say that, honestly.
Oh, that's gonna be for when the next season comes out. You can say if it's your favorite or not. Let's make a bet.
Oh my god!
You say it's gonna be everyone's favorite.
This time I'm not gonna look at the comments. I'm gonna be scared.
It's gonna be about Swedish chocolate balls. If it's not everyone's favorite, the whole team gets Swedish chocolate balls
with sugar.
With sugar. So we talked about your favorite part. I almost don't think there is any, but is there a part about level design that you don't like? I'm almost scared to ask now because you talk so passionate about it, so I don't feel like
how dare you talk badly about level design?
I'm sorry, but is there anything that you find less fun, or is it all just one happy big part of your job?
I mean, 100% the terrain can be really frustrating sometimes when it does not want to behave the way I want it to behave.
Yeah.
There are a few bugs in the terrain tool at the moment in the version we have. So you have to, but you kind of learn to work around it basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, the terrain can be a bit frustrating sometimes, especially for the level that I just made. I created this area, it was a certain size, and I was riding around, everything was feeling fine. Yeah, so I did the terrain and everything, and I started to place out a few rocks and a bit of trees and stuff because I wanted to fill the area a bit. And I just really felt that I wanted it to be slightly bigger. But then I was like, okay, it needs to be done in 2 days. Like, if I'm gonna remake this, it's a lot in just 2 days. And I was like, no, there's no way I can do that. And I was riding around and I was like testing, fixing a little bit. And then I was like, I have to make it bigger. I have to. It needs to be perfect. I don't want to.
That's a passion coming through.
Yeah. And that was both very frustrating, but it was also so nice when I made it bigger and I finished on time. And I was like, here. And it got so much better by just adding a little bit of extra space in all the areas, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's like if you say, I only have 2 days for this, it also means like it's not 2 whole days. You also have your other tasks that you need to do. So that can be quite stressful. But I love how you're so passionate about this that you're still like, no, I need to change this. Thank you for your effort.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's gonna sound so cheesy, but it really is for the players, because like I want that, response when we release a level. I want them to feel like, oh my god, I love this. I don't want them to be like feel what I'm feeling, like, oh, it's nice, but it would be nice if it was a bit bigger, because I think that I would have wanted it to be a bit bigger.
I think it's really cool that that feeling part is such a big part of it as well. That you really feel like, okay, how does it feel to you don't just like sketch something, make it pretty, and that's it. You really feel like, how does this feel, and how will it feel for our players? So that's really cool.
And it's also just like with adding specific assets or pieces. The castle, for example, I'm just like having a castle just make the, like, if we did not have the castle in that level, it would still have been like an okay level, but like the castle did such a huge part of being
exactly
there.
It added so much.
And that was also, Halloween coming up, and like we did it. Okay, this is the behind the scene thing. We were supposed to have the gates open like right away, but we didn't have the time because we had so much lighting issues. That's also a big part. Walter goes in after Elinor done it pretty by adding a bunch of light and light probes, and it's the lighting part a really long time because it affects so much. All the small rocks, big rocks, all the assets, everything gets affected by the light. So he had like big job there, and we had so much lighting issues in with the castle, and it took so long, and then we were like, okay, we don't have the time to open it, so we were like, we're just gonna have it closed. And then people were like, well, why didn't you open the doors? And then like, okay, brilliant idea, we just open it at Halloween. So
that was amazing.
We still released the season, and then by Halloween we would just open the gates, and we will have this entire Halloween theme with the pumpkins and stuff. And that turned out so well. So that was
it turned out great. I really like that. Like it's a happy coincidence. Not really happy coincidence, but it turned out for the better. To have it like
really
this, because it taught us like that surprise moment was also really cool to have within the level. So that was really cool to kind of be forced upon that idea, but for the better as well.
Yeah, and it's also kind of, I mean, it would be nice to keep doing a few of those where you kind of, surprise the players mid-season with adding something not really new because it's already been there, but close off an area. And that's what we wanted to do with Savannah, but again, we didn't have the time. You have to really kill your dark snakes.
Yeah, you have to kill your dark. You need to balance it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you also already said this, because I just have one question left, and which is your favorite level at the moment? But I think I know that I think I can guess that it's the one that you're working on right now.
Yes, I think it's gonna be the next. I mean, Highlands is just because it is my first level, and I was a wreck when I created that because I was so nervous. I didn't even know where to start. I didn't have a process. I had worked with a terrain tool once before during my studies on a 2-week course. That was it. So just learning I was so hard. But so I would always really love Highlands, and I love the castle. I really did love that season a lot. But I really do think that this one that's coming is gonna be the best one.
Well, I can say I'm curious. I'm sorry, I already know what it is. I know that it's gonna be pretty, but I hope you are as curious as I would have been if I was a community member. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to releasing the next season, so more people can see more of your beautiful work. And I really think that with each level you do, it gets better. So I'm really looking forward to everything that's going to be there and that's going to come.
To all the future seasons.
Yes.
But I mean, since I do pick up on a lot of things when I create, this is just my third trail ride basically.
Exactly.
Because it takes a lot of time to make one. So I feel, as you said, like my process is getting better. I'm getting faster, and I learn small pieces here and there. And I think the future ones will be good too.
I know for sure. Is there anything you want to add? Is there anything you want to say to the community?
Oh my god, I love our community so much. I really just want to thank you, like, a lot for all the kind words about specifically my level design, I would say. But just in general, I feel like we have a very passionate community, and I really do appreciate that. I feel like when I do create my levels, I always keep you guys in mind. I really, really do. And I love getting feedback on what you did like, what you like less, what you would wish to get specifically in the level design, because I can't program any features. I'm very sorry. But when it comes to level design, it's just tell me what you like, not like, and stuff. And thank you for being you.
Thank you. Thank you for being you. And I agree. I totally love you guys, all of you. So yeah, I think we can finish this video. And I hope everyone liked it. I think we're gonna do more of these kind of videos showing a little bit more of our team and what they do. And thank you for the great explanation. I learned a lot today. I hope you did as well. And yeah, we'll probably see you running around in some dinosaur suit.
Yeah, we need to make more of those. That was so much fun. Yes. I got in character.
You really did. Chaos everywhere.
Oh, we should have added about the giraffe. I remember I really want to talk about the giraffe.
Talk about the giraffe. Talk about the giraffe.
Oh, should we? Love the giraffe so much. No, but we were talking about like how I think about like the feelings you get when you play in the level, for example. And like last minute, right before we like really closed off working on the trailer for Savannah, I was riding around and I went up to the giraffe area, and the giraffe was turned. So when it did like the animation where it turned and looked, it didn't look at you. It looked like a completely different direction, like away from you. And like the only thing I did was just turn it so that you would feel that when you came up, he would look at you, so you will get that connection. And I saw so many on like Instagram, on people's posts and stuff, that they were like, oh, we said hi to our giraffe today, and like you guys named the giraffes, and like you really got like a bond with the giraffe. And that's just such a simple thing to just like, it just needed a turn, that's it, and you will create a completely different emotion. It's very interesting to like those tiny little details that does so much. I also want to say like thank you so much for this interview. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun hanging out with you.
I know, we're the best team ever.
We really are.
Yeah. All right. This is my cue. I am going to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you to Sofie again for being here, and have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.
Sofie, talk to me.
I will talk to you.
Oh my God.
Oh,
yes. This is a test recording.